welcome Swimming Stars to this full moon eclipse. I'm going to be just recording a few astrological observations for this amazing time of full moon expression, and I'm calling it the full moon eclipse of the United States of America. Whether you live in America, wherever you live in the world, it's a time of global crisis. In realizing where we are and who we are and what we're here to be. And so hopefully this astrology can lend some insight into our role here in America, our role as global citizens, and our role as humanitarians. So I'd like to share some different charts with you to get us going. All right, so here we have the chart for my current location, Denver, Colorado, United States. And we've got the sun and moon at 13 degrees 37 minutes. Cancer opposite Capricorn. You can see the Capricorn stellium in the 11th house where we live, with Aquarius rising, Neptune and Pisces in the first house. I gotta tell you, I really love this chart. And we've got an amazing quincunx as well. If we draw a line from Pluto straight down to the North Node, which I think is very significant. So let's talk about what all of this means. I know that there's a lot of astrology available to you, so thank you for listening in. If you haven't already joined our page, you can go to Facebook groups, and we are Star Swim. And it's a healing tribe of people that are looking for transformation, affirmation, growth, and we use astrology as well as other modalities. So let's look right now. As you know, a full moon is in opposition, and this full moon eclipse means that the nodes of the moon are close to the sun and moon, and so the nodal axis is in play. And we think of that as a continuum of past, present, and future, of our destinies, of our past lives, and of being able to integrate. So the first thing that we notice is the sun is in the 5th house and the moon is in the 11th. So the 5th house is about expression of all kinds, creativity, openness. It's about bearing children. It's about being able to be childlike. And Cancer is all about nurturing. And although Mercury is in retrograde, that spirit of conversation is with ourself about how we can nurture the creative part of ourself, how we can go deep and really hold ourselves and allow ourselves the space to create as much as needed. When you have all of that Capricorn energy opposite Cancer, it's supposed to be aligning of your feelings. It's supposed to be expansive of all the power that you need. It's almost like feeling like you have a team and a tribe there, whether they're there or not, if that makes sense. And of course they're there. Of course you have a tribe, but sometimes we feel this struggle. We look around in the world and we say, am I the only one that, that wants change or wants things to heal? Or how do we make that work? Or am I the only one of this certain group or this certain social demographic that feels this way or has gone through this stuff? And the answer is no. You're an individual. There isn't anyone like you that can create the change that you're here to create. And this Capricorn empowerment is for you to harness that knowledge that you are a leader in that. And so this delicate sensitivity towards our creativity and being able to express in a way that completely nurtures our soul and our psyche is being paired and pitted against power, structure, the patriarchy, expansion, how things have always been and how they should be, is what we're up against. And that isn't how it has to be forever, right? We've already got Uranus and Taurus saying, hey, which, by the way, is making a really cool angle here. We've got Uranus and Taurus that's making a trine to the Capricorn stuff. And when you think about Taurus and Cancer, they are very complementary signs that are about protecting. Taurus is about protecting nature and the earth and planting seeds and being able to protect what you could and will manifest. If you have enough self-love for yourself, if you have enough support, if you have a strong enough rooting system. And Cancer protects all that is sacred, deep down, psychological, spiritual, emotional. And so when you combine the two, it's pretty cool if we can put that energy out in the world. So although this Capricorn energy can feel challenging, it's sort of like, how can you make a revolution and stand up and create and plant and grow if you don't have any power, if you don't have any strength, if you're not willing to stand up and build something that won't just last for today, but that will last a lifetime. And so when you see this retrograde activity of Jupiter and Pluto and Saturn and Capricorn, we've talked about it before. It's what needs to happen inside of us to build a structure for the future, not just for the next 10 days, not just for a few weeks, not just for the end of the COVID-19 pandemic, not just till the end of the election, not just till our kids are grown. Like, this is for a legacy for the future, for our planet, for the people that are in it, for connection, and for unity overall. And I love that it's in the house of friends and wishes and hopes and dreams. So there's all of this heavy energy in that center because, hey, we need, I was going to swear, but last time I did that, YouTube put this little, I don't know, censorship thing on my video. Anyway, all swearing aside, it's really freaking important that our friends and our team and our tribe is aligned, that we are able to grab hands with people. I was just talking with somebody today about, it's like all of our individuality and all of our differences don't matter. What matters is, am I creating harm in the world, or am I creating peace? Am I promoting love? Am I giving love to myself and to others? Or am I promoting and giving fear? Am I restricting and compacting and putting things in a box, or am I expanding? Because the true test is being able to create a structure that can expand, that can bend, that can be flexible to stand the test of times. With an Aquarius rising and Neptune and Pisces in the first house, that's like who this eclipse is about and how it influences you is about going out into the world to create humanist behavior, to create behavior that connects us, that doesn't destroy us. Where we find where we're alike, where we find where we can connect, not find where there's disparagement or where there's differences. And that Neptune and Pisces is a huge ocean of spirituality to hold it all in. Not illusion, not disillusionment, but what is your dream of who you could be out in the world if you were really helping people the way that you know that you could, the way that you've been born to do. And then we've got Mars and Chiron in Aries very close together. And it's in the house of self-value. So what needs to be viciously ripped away so that you can boldly stand bravely healing, bravely knowing how much you're loved, so that you can rip up everything that you're afraid of that says, no, I'm not enough. No, I can't handle this. No, I need someone else to do it for me. No, I have to rely on you. Yes, we have to rely on our friends and our support structures, but not to be brave and not to heal. That's our responsibility, to love ourselves and to go deep and to take the action. And then we can be in this creative and nurturing place. We can be in a Gemini-Venus connection where we get all the information we need to actually have a relationship, right? You can't have a relationship if there's no information there. And to fortify our power. So we're not using our emotions in a way that's letting go of everything and letting the emotion drain out. We're using our emotion in a way that cultivates strength within us and out in the world. So really cool. I want to talk a little bit about the quincunx in this chart, and I'll just point to it in case you're not used to looking for those. It's also called an inconjunct, and you'll see this little green line I'm going to draw here from Pluto right to the north node. It says, Pluto is deep transformation, or it's trauma, it's power or the loss of power. It is a crushing, veritable force that is not to be ignored. And when you see a quincunx or an inconjunct, it's a crisis of the self, a crisis of the soul, a crisis of spirit. It is a crisis which we are all in. And this crisis right now in this chart exists between the structure of the patriarchy and of power and of things that have always been this way, or for hundreds of years, or for centuries, against why. But I need more information about that. How is that nurturing? How does that create a home for me? Does it create a home for me? Am I honoring my ancestors? Am I healing ancestral trauma? And so there becomes a very delicate balance of not just getting around a corner like a square where we get around a corner for a new perspective. There becomes a delicate balance between soul and spirit, and between our human experience that's very real to us and creates a lot of blocks for us, and our soul experience, which is ethereal and which is in different dimensions, and which can be healing no matter what is occurring if we just allow it to. So I encourage you to look at that crisis together with me. Those of you that have planets in cardinal signs around between anywhere between 10 and 30 degrees. Really look at how these squares are creating growth for you, are trying to empower you, and trying to put you out into the world in the way you were meant to be. And it's not for the faint of heart. Mars in Aries with Chiron is not for the faint of heart, but it's worth it. And you have to get that out of your system. You have to feel visceral. You have to express. And if you don't, it expresses anyway, right? It expresses in different ways. It can express as violence. It can express as anger. It can express as feeling like so trapped you're going to explode. We have to get out in nature. We have to cast spells. We have to set prayers. We have to give intentions and create and act upon all of this that we feel in the world, in our lives, in our families, in quarantine, in order to make a huge shift and a difference. And I want to go ahead and tell you why I called this the full moon eclipse of the United States. So I'm going to show you that part next. So obviously many of you are from different countries, different regions of the world. And I feel so lucky and blessed that astrology can connect us globally. I feel like it's a global phenomenon. I feel like it's a way of connecting through language, just like music is, just like metaphysics is, just like shamanic healing work is. All types of healing modalities have to come together. The reason I want to draw attention to the United States is because I am pleading and asking with my brothers and sisters in the United States to sync in with this chart, to cast spells, to be open to the healing of not just ourselves, but to the United States. And if you don't live here in the United States, I'm asking for your help too, to send energy, to converge on this full moon eclipse, to give America a little bit more strength and nurturing and healing, to rip open what we need to rip open to see our wounds, and to be able to strip off what has come before that is packed down into this dense this dense conglomeration of WTF, because there's a huge change that needs to happen. So for all of us and for all of you, I'm asking for help for the United States of America in this chart, and I just felt like it matched so well with the United States. So I just want to show you that before I sign off today. So here we've got the United States on the inner ring, and then the full moon eclipse is on the outer ring here. And what we've got is, the United States is 11 degrees Cancer, a couple give or take, depending on which chart you use, of course. I like the July 2nd chart. But it's an 8th house sun. The United States identity is to expand transformation. And we haven't done such a good job of nurturing, right? I feel like there's a huge, if you look at everything in a pendulum shift, there's always an opportunity when things get really serious for us to be able to shift that pendulum. So when the sun comes to us with a full moon eclipse and it's in the 8th house of the United States, I say, please, let's harness the transformation. The 8th house isn't afraid to look at the deepest, darkest secrets. It's not like we're putting down the United States, or we're saying, oh, what a terrible country, or I can't be a patriot anymore. It's like, hey, this has happened and this is real. People have been oppressed and people have been murdered and people have been killed, and our country was founded in a way that was, ripping away of people's identity and their homes. And it's cancer. Cancer is about creating a home that nurtures all, that doesn't discriminate, that feels like home to anyone and everyone. And I think if and when the United States could be at its best, that's, the goal. And to be able to be in a space for that. That communication center is here in the eclipse, and it's asking us to actually talk in a way that isn't afraid of the dark, that's not afraid of our sins, our wrongdoings, the things that have caused pain and anguish and torment and unfairness and injustice in our country for hundreds of years. It's like there's this pressure and this time, like, can we make it right? Venus and Uranus are lined up here. Let me just show you a couple of the different things that are lined up that I feel is exciting change that we can start harnessing. If you look at the eclipse, Venus is on the United States Uranus, right? And if you look at Pluto down here below, the United States is having a Pluto return, right? Which none of us as humans get to experience in our lifetime because Pluto is such a slow-moving planet. But the United States is having a Pluto return in the 2nd house of self-worth, of self-love, of transformative power. This is the time when we get to extend trauma, when we get to extend misuse of power, or when we get to transform it. And there's no way that that's going to happen without us creating a completely different structure, without us as individuals restructuring who we are and how we see. So, whatever your viewpoints are, whatever your history, whatever your prejudices, whatever your experience thus far, I encourage, and I'm encouraging myself as well every single day, to find a new perspective. That's how we transform. We don't ever transform by just being the same that we've always been. Status quo, transforming, like that's not a thing. And I know that it's painful, but your personal transformation affects and ripples everyone around you. Um, and so we can't be afraid of that change. We can't be afraid of upheaval. We can't be afraid of revolution. What we should be afraid of is continuing a legacy that's harmful to others. That's what we should be afraid of. That's the opposite of Cancer. And so I love the astrology of this chart for showing that. And you can see that the nodes of United States of America in Leo, that North Node in Leo, I will express and be vibrant. And there's so many beautiful and positive ways that America can do that. But right now in this time, we're asking, the nodes are asking, can we have the information needed to form harmony? Can we have the information needed to form partnerships? Can we break away from anything that is creating a traumatic response? And let me just show you another thing over here. This moon is the moon also is in the second house opposite the sun of the United States. And this moon is about having, I don't know if you know the story of the 13 moons or the number 13 or the superstition around it, but I think the 13 degree is significant. It's that thing where we have a conception or preconception like, oh, 13's bad luck, but if you actually look up 13, it's not about bad luck. It's about this special event that didn't always get to happen that we got to harness. And so I want the full moon eclipse to feel like that for you. I want you to take your special luck and harness it. And it's like about discovery of things like, witches, where it's like, oh, there's the witch hunts, right? We're going to hunt you down because you have power, because you're connected to nature, because you don't need the structure that's evolved. It's like being a gypsy as well, right? Like there's so many different archetypes of, well, I'm going to go, I'm going to go live in, not a convent. I was going to say a convent. I'm going to go live in a commune, right? And it's like, oh no, we don't do that. This is how we do it. There's cities and there's towns and there's all of this structure that I think can be wiped out, at least mentally, at least spiritually, right? Not like we need to go tear down buildings, but I think the tearing down of buildings is a metaphor for, hey, this structure isn't working and you're not listening. So the more that we can listen, the more that we can open our hearts, the more that we can revolutionize, the more healing that can ensue. If you're wondering again about your own personal chart, look to where your Capricorn alignments are and your Cancer alignments are, especially. And then go on be further from that and look for your Aries placements and your Libra. And if you need any extra help with that, please post on our page or send me a little private message. So honored to be able to share healing with you. I hope we can band together. And I'd just like to send out an intention just for openness and healing and light. We're going to be casting some spells and getting close to nature and churning up all the ideas that we can to bring each other together in new perspectives and new ways that we never have before. So channel your creativity and know that you are empowered and supported way beyond yourself in this. You're not doing this alone. We're here doing it with you. And I'll see you soon on the page.